Hello folks, Ellie Little here, back to do another trading series, this time looking at a setup on the XLF, the financials. And the financials, whether you noticed it or not last week, these guys could not move. The whole market rallies, they're up 0.5%, right, after falling 5% the week before. So something's definitely wrong here. We're going to look at it. We're going to see why the short probably makes sense here. We're in September. Market has hard time in September. If you're going to short something, you want to short the weakest. This looks like something that could give the market some problems. I've got the XLF up. You could look at any of the financials. You could use the the leverage ones if you wanted to, or you could go straight away and just short straight away, like old school. But what do we got here? Let's just go through them one at a time. Here's XLF. You got a swing point high here, another one there. Here's a dip down, gets all the way to the bottom, much deeper than it should have. That's a retest, regen, does regen, but look at these little bars coming back up. You got no volume after the big bar down. This thing's probably going to roll back over. You can see it's telling you resistance at the top here, and if that fails, there'll be resistance up here as well. And so that's the setup. Your stops are going to have to be up above here if they're going to be someplace. What are you shooting for? Well, you're shooting for a lot lower. Matter of fact, now that you've done the retest regen on these swing point highs, right, if this area fails on the next push down, which has a decent probability of doing, you're going to go after the next swing point low and the one after that, and these have two down here, so you got congruent swing point lows, which if they break, they're also going to be congruent probably with this one. We'll probably print by then, right, because you already got 5 bars. Now this is the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, you got the same situation in that you've already tested your swing point highs. You had one here, you had one here, and what is this? You break over both of them. Actually, you broke over one back here, you broke over the last one there, and you came back, you retested both of them, shot back up to brand new highs, and now you're kind of drifting back down. Volume picks up, even though it's a doji bar with a little bit of a positive finish to the week, so you get a black bar here, but that's pressure to the downside actually. What do you got on this one? Well, this is going to print a swing point low. You also got a swing point low here and one there. That means that you've got 3 swing point lows that are within about roughly 0.5% of each other or so. That means if they break, you can go down to the next one. Or is that 35? This area up here is the lows that you see down here. Finally, switch over to the monthly chart. What do we see on that one? Well, here's your swing point high. What did you do? You got over it. You've already tested it, right? You came back in and tested again. You pop back up. Well, what if this rolls back one more time? Well, you can get down deep where you have this swing point high. That's really your target right there. What's that price point? 37. So your 37 price point. So over here you're looking at low 40s. If you're looking at the weekly, you're looking at the 39.53, and this one back here is your 37. So really your target is this swing point low. Now what's driving this thing? If you look at what's inside of it, let's switch over here. You can see the weightings, right? Your big weighting, 5 stocks hold 40% of the weighting. So let's just go through each of them real quick to give you a feel for what they are. The first one here is Berkshire. Berkshire's been has been having a hard time. They've been selling off. They've been in the news a lot lately because they're liquidating all their long positions. Now, some people are giving excuses as to why that's good, why that doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I'm not one to try to read why somebody's doing something. I'm just trying to follow the charts and see what they're doing. You're testing into a swing point low. You're testing back into this retest regen. This hasn't been tested since it broke out. That breakout was up here. You've tested into it once. You finished over it. Now you're back into it again. What's the next one? The next one's down here. Has that one been tested? Yes, it's been tested once already. So it's going to be a second test. Can this break lower? Yes, it can. Has it got volume build up on the way down? Nothing yet. So this is just a nice gradual slow sell off to the downside. If you go to your weekly, where's your test there? Here's your swing point highs. You've tested every one of them. That means you could come down and break these swing point lows, and you'd go all the way to this one. And finally, if you come to the monthly, you don't really have anything until you get way over here. 362, that's the number. 362 over here gets you down into that swing point high. That all kind of makes sense, right? Let's go look at the next one. So Berkshire Hathaway, I guess the main thing here is, do we have a top yet? Is this a top? It could be a top. It looks like it probably is a top, but we don't know that yet until we start breaking swing point lows. And so all of these are conjecture that you're going to break swing point lows. I think the other thing to notice here is that almost all of these are going to have extended MTTFs. This one's at 63, right? That's not that bad yet, but yes, it could by the time it gets to where it's trying to go, that could be get the weekly up here. That could be a problem, right? Because it's going to take a while to get down to break these, and so this is going to be more extended by the time it gets there. Let's look at the next heaviest weighting, JP Morgan. As you know, they were in the news. They came out and said that they've got some serious issues with what the analysts think they're going to earn, and they took a huge tumble on that day, 5%. If you look at them, I'm not going to go through all these, but these have actually already broken, right? So here's your swing point highs. They broke them all right there. You got your next swing points is a low, just broke it this week. That says that the next target is down here. That's 209. Let's go to the next chart. Here's your weeklies. Where do you have anything on the weeklies? Well, on the weeklies, you really don't have any swing point highs. This thing has been so strong for so long. Notice no swing point highs printed. So you're shorting a very strong stock. It's already taken dips before, so maybe this is just another one of those, right? But look at your volume build up on this one. A lot different than what you've seen on the other ones. Where could this one go? Well, I think those lows are a target. You've got your support in this area. That price point is the 198, which again over here is 190. So you could certainly get into that and potentially break that. And finally, go to the monthly. Your real target over here. You had to break out. You actually had a retest. It looks like already 172.96. And the breakout, it's already tested it once, so that doesn't even have to hold, but that's where your support would be as you see it, and that's way back at 172 is the high. So that's a long way back. That's your next heaviest weighting. So the top two weightings, roughly 23% of this index, that's already telling you that you've got trouble. What's the next heaviest weighting here? Okay, now you get into things that are still strong. Mastercard and Visa. So Mastercard, there's nothing wrong with this chart. Just broke out and at the highs. Okay, so what happens when you get a breakout? Usually you get a retest regen. That low is 476. Just broke out. Top of it's 490. This would give you an indication of a problem. That's what you're going to be looking for here is, do you get an indication of a problem if this doesn't hold, right? If that retest regen just doesn't hold. And so that's what I would be looking for here right now. Nothing wrong with it. The only thing wrong with it, and we didn't look at JPM, but the only thing wrong with it is the bullish, right? JPM's already reset. This one still needs to reset. Next one is Mastercard. Excuse me, that is Mastercard. Let's look at Visa. That's the next one. And this is where all of your weighting is just about over. Nothing wrong here. What does it do? Breaks that swing point high. Usually when you break a swing point high, retest regens the next thing. Usually within 1 to 2 bars. If it does stretch up, there's another one up here. And over here, that's your test. And this one, of course, your test is going to be the retest regen. So if I'm looking for something that tells me something's wrong, I want to see this right here fail, right? That would tell me that that's bad. So right now we're running on conjecture that things need to change, right? We can see that there's some peripheral problems, but it doesn't tell us that in fact this thing's going to tank yet. But you can't wait until it tanks. You got to read the cards, and the main cards are you've got extended on these that haven't broken yet, and you've got you're waiting in those two large ones, Berkshire and JPM, pushing them down. And Bank of America is the same thing. And Bank of America, of course, is one of the ones that Berkshire's been dumping. This one never even got back to the highs compared to the other ones. Much weaker stock. And broke a swing point low here, went back up, did a retest, regen. This one actually got over it. So this is probably more of a sideways pattern. As a matter of fact, let me emphasize here at the end here, I don't know that this is going to kill the market. Matter of fact, I don't think it is going to kill the market. But, all of these things in the market, all of these potential trades in the market right now, whether they're up or down, is they're sideways trades. If you go here and look at it on a weekly, what is this? This is a range. Your range is about from there to roughly there. That's the first range. If you duplicate that down, you're going to get your second range. Easiest way to do it, of course, is copy and paste. So we'll do that. We'll just drop it down and say, okay, where does that one go? That would be the next range, and that takes you to a swing point low. It looks to me like financials are not going to be leading this market. We know that XLK broke already. We know that the SOX has struggled. That's a big part of the S&P weighting. This is September. We got October coming, and we got earnings up, and then we got an election. A lot of things lined up here to potentially get some more volatility to the downside. That's what I'm looking at. This is what I'm trading on the weak side of the market. This is what I'm trading short. On the strong side, I'm still holding my long strongs. So balanced, more balanced. If you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the commentary, let me know what you're thinking and what you'd like to see. If you want something in particular, I will give it to you. Take care.